Hello, welcome to cool art stuff for kids and teachers and adults, whoever wants to try it, right? Last time we made a geodesic dome and didn't quite get it together before we ended our film, but there it is, check it out. Buckminster Fuller would be so proud. Look at the patterns on there, the beautiful patterns. I like it a lot. Okay, next up for you is the Dutch painter, Piet Mondrian, or Piet Mondrian, best known for his black line grids. It's a popular motif picked up by many advertising agencies over the years. The simple color palette, primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and white against the black line grid was his trademark. Look at it, handsome boy, right there. He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but his legend lives on. So he's most famous for Broadway Boogie Woogie, and you can see that he broke down the city of New York, or it was Manhattan, I think, into grids, like he was looking down from a giant helicopter, right? And the yellow lines represent the streets, and then the little blue and red guys are buildings, and then some of them are even cars moving along. And he liked the syncopation of the city and the kind of rhythm and music of the city. So that was his Broadway Boogie Woogie, which is his probably most famous piece. So as excited he was about breaking the square or rectangular format down into these black grid lines, he said, I think I need to do a little bit something different, kind of like Buckminster Fuller was thinking, right? So he took that and started to look at trees. And this actually was before Broadway Boogie Woogie. He started looking at trees, and he liked the way that trees swayed in the wind, how he could portray this motion in a painting was pretty astounding. And he did quite a few tree paintings, and then he thought, well, wait a minute, the thing that really interests me more than the trees themselves are the spaces that are created between the branches, which we of course call negative space. So he made a bunch of tree paintings that look like that, which I kind of prefer to this one, only because this one sort of has more motion to me and more excitement as a piece of artwork. So then he thought, I'm gonna take this guy and kind of use a color palette that's not so primary, right? And actually this did come first, and then he went to the primary colors. I prefer this myself, the limited palette. So anyway, today we're gonna do some Mondrian kind of stuff. I guess we don't need these, I'll put these aside. And we're gonna start on just regular white paper. I'm using tag board. You can use whatever kind of white paper you happen to have in the house. I'll be using black acrylic paint. I'll be using black marker. I will be using a set of oil pastels. I like this little set because they're self-enclosed and you don't get that messy, but we're gonna get messy anyway because sometimes that's what artists do, is get messy. So I've got my paper. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. If I hold it back here, you can. And the first one we're going to do is with just a black marker. Actually, in my art class, I did it the opposite way. We did the painting one first. So let's do the painting one first. Okay? So we've got our piece of tag, and I've got a tray of black paint, and I'm going to use a piece of matte board, which is kind of thick, and then I'm also going to use a postcard, which is pretty thin. You could also use tag board or poster board in your room and cut it in strips for the kids. So I'm going to take this, dip it right down into my black paint. This could be, by the way, tempera paint if you're working with small kids, but this is the only thing I had at home was acrylic paint, a little bit of water, and now I've got it on the edge of my piece, and then I'm going to, I don't know if you can see this. Yes, you can from there. So I'm going to create my tree. Actually, I'm going to do this one this way. I'm going to bend this a little bit and just start putting down lines that are going to divide my paper up. A little more paint. I'm going to go this way. Boom, boom, bang. Don't forget, sound effects are very effective, so don't forget to use them and have some fun. Okay, and I'm also going to use the short side of the piece of tag or poster board to make some smaller branches. Oh, that one's kind of messed up on the side. Oh, there, that's better, better, better. I'm trying to break my big piece of white rectangular tag board into kind of pieces, kind of sections like he did in his paintings. By the way, kids kind of get upset when you say you're going to not use a paintbrush, you're going to use a piece of cardboard to do this, and it really breaks up the plane pretty easily. I'm going to just throw a few more in. So you get the idea. All the way across, keep it going. Discourage the kids from using too many lines, because then pretty soon it's all just one black mess. So you've got to show some restraint when you're adding these lines on there, not get too carried away. So fast forward. Here's one going vertically that started, and then they're going to choose a limited color in their palette. So I've got the yellow, the kind of red, kind of the orange, and then this kind of pinkish beige here. And then I'm just going to take my oil pastels, put this where you can see it, and just color in each section, but leaving some space to blend colors over top of each other. So I'm going to go with the orange for a while, do that in several places, come back in with my, oh, I do have a cream color here. I'm going to add my cream color here and blend it right in. And by doing that, I'm using a limited number of colors, true to his palette, true to Mondrian's palette. And then also have handy paper towels, or you can use your fingers if you don't care if the kids get too messy, and just work that back and forth. And you keep working it until you're finally to a point where you have the finished piece of artwork. This one kind of looks realistic with the moon in the background, and I kind of like it that way. But this one's a lot more abstract, not quite finished, but I kind of like the way that looks. And then, of course, there are variations. I love variations in my work. One of which is, don't want to get too messy, use a thick black marker, and staying true again to Mondrian's kind of grid work. I just took my marker, and not using a ruler, but if you want to, the kids might want to do that. Just keep going over and over, adding and creating parallel lines to the side of the paper, and then pretty soon, you know, after a few minutes, pretty rapidly, you've got a lot of smaller, medium, and larger size rectangles or squares, which you can start to color in with oil pastels. I've had kids even use paint right over the top of the permanent marker, and they come out really well. The kids really are pleased with what they end up with, and it doesn't take a whole lot of drawing skill. It teaches them about how breaking up the framework is very important, how creating a composition is important, not overly putting too much in one area, sort of putting the squares, large, medium, small, the variety of shapes all over the format of the rectangular piece. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to me, and I'll see you next time. You can go. This thing is really annoying me. Okay.